Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Major news just broke about the Blue Jays and Kyle Tucker, and this changes everything about how we should be viewing Toronto's offseason plans. The Blue Jays have made a concrete offer to Tucker, and according to sources close to the situation, they're not messing around with this one. Team executives believe this is the moment to take a serious step forward by going after a name that can completely transform their offense. Tucker isn't just another player on the market. He's a star who impacts winning, draws attention, and immediately raises the competitive level of any roster he joins. That's exactly what Toronto needs right now. The Blue Jays' interest in Tucker isn't something new. They've been tracking his situation closely and even hosted him for an official visit at their facilities in Florida earlier this month. That meeting was treated internally as a critical strategic moment where both sides exchanged information and aligned expectations. They discussed the club's direction, the organization's long-term vision, and specifically what role Tucker would play on this roster. The fact that Tucker accepted the visit was already seen as encouraging. Every detail in these negotiations matters, and that face-to-face contact strengthened Toronto's confidence that a deal could actually happen in the coming weeks. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Buster Olney reported that the Toronto Blue Jays have put the largest money offer on the table for Kyle Tucker during this entire offseason. Even when teams avoid officially confirming numbers, there are clear indications about the salary ranges being discussed. According to Olney, Toronto has made it obvious they're willing to pay more than any other competitor. Even if another team tries to beat their current offer, the expectation is that the Blue Jays will respond immediately to stay on top. This approach shows how determined the franchise is to close this deal and that they're not holding back financially. Olney also pointed out that regardless of the final outcome, Toronto is expected to be the team presenting the highest total value offer to Tucker by the end of winter. That reinforces the image of an aggressive organization in the market, which hasn't always been common in the club's recent history. By taking this stance, Toronto sends a clear message to the league and their fan base. The goal is winning, competing at the highest level, and building a roster capable of fighting for championships. Having the biggest offer on the table puts them in a very strong negotiating position and significantly increases their chances of convincing Tucker to put on a Blue Jays uniform. This situation gained even more traction when other MLB experts started pointing to Toronto as the favorites to land Tucker. Mark Feinsand from MLB.com stated that the market for Tucker has been relatively quiet so far, and his visit to Toronto represented the biggest development of his offseason. According to sources Feinsand cited, Toronto is currently ahead of their competitors, though teams like the New York Mets can't be completely ruled out. Still, the Blue Jays' favoritism appears solid, especially because of the combination of a strong organizational vision and genuine financial commitment. If this signing happens, the impact on Toronto's offense would be immediate and massive. Tucker is known for his offensive production, consistency, and power at the plate. Imagine him hitting near Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in the lineup. That creates an offensive sequence that becomes incredibly difficult for opposing teams to navigate. You're forcing rival pitchers to be extremely careful every single inning because one mistake to either guy can change the game instantly. This setup would make Toronto's lineup significantly more dangerous, reducing pressure on other hitters and increasing the team's ability to score runs consistently throughout a long season. Even though the initial focus of the offseason was strengthening the pitching staff, the Blue Jays made it clear they weren't ignoring the market for impact bats. The meeting with Tucker proves that. Manager John Schneider described the conversation as extremely productive. According to him, both sides got to know each other better, discussing everything from roster construction to the vision of the front office and ownership group. Schneider highlighted that Tucker showed genuine interest in talking baseball and understanding where the team is headed, which was viewed as a very positive sign internally. Tucker enters this offseason with an impressive track record. He's a four-time All-Star and widely recognized as one of the best all-around hitters in baseball. His combination of talent, consistency, and high-level experience makes him one of the most valuable players available. For Toronto, landing Tucker would represent more than just adding a great player to the roster. It would symbolize a decisive shift toward a more competitive future and signal to the rest of the league that the Blue Jays are serious about contending immediately. Think about what this lineup could look like with Tucker in it. You'd have George Springer leading off or hitting near the top, Tucker providing protection around Vlad, Bo Bichette, if he stays healthy, contributing, and depth throughout the order with guys like Dalton Varsho, the newly signed Kazuma Okamoto, and others filling out the card. That's a legitimately dangerous offensive unit that can score runs in multiple ways. Tucker brings speed, power, plate discipline, and defensive value. He's not a one-dimensional player. He impacts the game in every phase, which is exactly what championship-caliber teams need. The financial commitment Toronto is showing also tells you something about where ownership's head is at right now. They're not operating like a team trying to cut payroll or tread water. They're acting like an organization that sees a window of opportunity and wants to capitalize on it. With Vlad and Bo both in their prime years, with a rotation anchored by Kevin Gausman and the recently acquired Dylan Cease, and with a competitive division that's winnable, this is the time to go for it. Sitting back and hoping things work out isn't a strategy. Being aggressive in free agency and going after the best available talent is how you maximize your chances. What makes this even more compelling is that Toronto hasn't been known for making these kinds of splashes in recent years. They've added solid players, sure, but going after the top guy on the market with the biggest offer shows a different level of ambition. Fans have been asking for this kind of commitment. And if the front office delivers Tucker, it validates all the frustration people felt during previous off seasons when the team seemed hesitant to make the big move. The next few weeks are going to be critical. Tucker is weighing his options, considering fit, money, and long-term outlook with different organizations. Toronto has positioned itself as the front runner by offering the most money and creating a compelling vision for what he could accomplish with this team. Whether that's enough to get the deal done remains to be seen, but the Blue Jays have done everything right so far. They hosted him, made a strong impression, put the best financial package on the table, and positioned themselves as serious contenders for his services. If Toronto pulls this off, it completely changes how we evaluate their offseason. Adding Dylan Cease was huge for the rotation. Signing Kazuma Okamoto added versatility and offensive depth. Landing Kyle Tucker would be the cherry on top that transforms this roster from playoff hopeful to legitimate World Series threat. That's not hyperbole. Tucker is that good, and when you pair him with the talent already on this roster, you're talking about a team that can compete with anyone in the American League. The baseball world is watching this situation closely because it matters for the entire competitive landscape. If the Blue Jays land Tucker, other AL East teams have to respond. The division becomes even more of a bloodbath. Every game matters more. The stakes get higher. That's exactly the kind of baseball fans want to see, and Toronto putting themselves in position to make it happen deserves credit. Now they just need to finish the job and get Tucker's signature on a contract. The stage is set. The offer is on the table. We'll see over the coming weeks whether Toronto can close the deal and bring in one of the best players in baseball.